This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Yeah, let's talk about the main event that night from June 11th, because I feel like this is one of those forgotten great steel cage matches. It's the main event, you and Chris Benoit. It's probably most remembered for the huge moonsault off the top. Meltzer loved it, said it was excellent, called it 4.25 stars or perhaps more. But he did say there's tons of memorable and dangerous spots. Benoit did a German suplex while both were standing on the top rope, holding onto the cage. How dangerous was that, Kurt?
Which spot? The German spot?
German spot, standing on the
German
top.
spot is the most dangerous spot we did in that match. It might not look like it, but that's the toughest one to take. Off the top rope backward. There's a great chance you're going to land on your head. Probably 99% of the time you're going to land on your head. So it's one of those taking the chance moves that you do that you don't know if you're going to get injured or not. But Chris and I had to prove a point that night. We were upcoming talent. Austin was out there watching the match. We were trying to impress Austin. I think we went way too far because we actually scared him away.
Yeah.
We were trying to show him that we wanted to work with him. And he's like, these guys are crazy bastards. I'm not going to work with them.
Right.
He even told me that later on down the line. And we just threw everything in the kitchen sink into that match. Chris and I were crazy that night. And his flying headbutt off the top, my moonsault, they all could have been finishes. And, unfortunately, we went a little bit further. Fortunately, we went a little bit further. Nobody got hurt, but the match turned out to be incredible. But from a working standpoint of wrestling Austin, it didn't make him, it didn't appeal to him to want to work with us.
Right.
We had to earn his respect back eventually another way.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Nobody wants to get hurt, and you guys are definitely throwing caution into the wind here with moves like that. And the moonsault in particular, Meltzer talked about. He says, after Angle did his slam finisher, he went to the top of the cage and missed a moonsault. He could have accomplished the same result from the top rope, and his knees wouldn't have taken such a pounding, but it was a hell of a deal. But I was furious when Benoit didn't get out because of that big bump, and it wasn't even the finish. In hindsight, is this where, maybe there was a shift in mentality in professional wrestling where once upon a time it was, we build to a big spot like this and that's the finish. But it felt like over time that evolved into you have a big spot like this and we want that to really be a false finish. And then we quote unquote sneak a quick one. When did that change? Around this time?
Yeah, I believe so. It was one of those things where you wanted to have a great false finish and you wanted to make it more believable as the finish. So you do a crazy ass spot and you have the guy kick out. It's very difficult. I mean, you're really, you're chancing the match because you want to tell a story and you want to build up to the finish, and you don't know if the finish is going to be as impressive as the moonsault was. So, you're taking a chance by doing that, but we wanted to throw everything in the kitchen sink in that match. And that was why that match was planned out the way it was.
Talk to me about the moonsault and landing on your knees. We've talked about this before. The toes, the knees. I mean, it's just rough on all your joints when you're taking a big moonsault like this, right?
Oh, without a doubt. I actually did a moonsault before my match at Royal Rumble 2003. I did a moonsault in a match earlier, about 6 weeks prior, and I had to have knee surgery. I tore a meniscus in my knee, a cartilage, and I had to have it taken out. And so it is brutal on your knees, and it's also brutal on your toes and your rib cage. It's a tough move. It can hurt your neck too, because you're arching your head up and you're taking the bump and whiplashing your head backwards. So it's a really tough move to take.
It's unbelievable to think about. I just can't help but think about you telling us before you never took a clothesline over the top rope. But hey, if you need me to climb to the top of that cage and just jump backwards, no problem. It's just weird that, but I get it that everybody's got certain, idiosyncrasies or whatever about their performance. But the idea that, I'm going to take the clothesline over the top. No, thanks. Need me to climb up there and just jump off? No problem.
I know. And both of them, you go backwards. for some reason, I can't go over the top rope backward. I have to turn around and go forward. And with the moonsault, I'm okay with that off of a 12-foot cage.
I got a DM from a wrestler who had wrestled you a lot, and I don't think they want everyone to know that they listen to our pod, so I won't mention their name. But he said, I couldn't believe when Kurt said he wouldn't take a clothesline over the top, because I've wrestled him 100 times and we've done that spot, but I went back and watched, and I'll be damned, he never went backwards. He always took. He didn't notice, and he's the other guy in the ring with you. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, but I will not go backward over the top rope. I'm too scared to do it.
But hey, if you put 15 feet in between me, no problem. I got it.
Fine, I'll do that. Yes.
Well, we make sure we're on the right track to making you a bad guy the next week. Raw is in Calgary on May 28th, and they're doing all this campy Spike and Molly love triangle stuff. And then you show up, and as they start to kiss, you tell them to stop, because the last thing the world needs is offspring of these two. Spike slaps you, you beat him up, throw him into some lockers, and it looks like Spike actually gets busted open the hard way in this segment, because he's got some scratches. He's looking a little worse for wear when he's out later in the show, but he does get his revenge. He helps Jericho secure a win over you that week on SmackDown, and Shane is out to distract you too, and that sort of sets up the match for you and Shane at King of the Ring. But what do you remember about this interaction with Spike and Molly, and what happened to Spike here?
Well, it's typical Kurt Angle fashion, assaulting the talent and then beating them up. Yeah, poor Spike. I cut him open the hard way, and I felt really badly about it. He's a really tough kid. I love the kid to death, though.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.